Well, the big fella has dropped out before a single vote has even been counted. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Christie is out of the Republican race to be the president. He drops out, and there was some interesting stuff that happened last night before he even got up and announced it. He was reportedly caught on a hot mic saying that Nikki Haley had no chance. She was spending millions and millions of dollars on political ads, not going anywhere. But it's very obvious why Chris Christie dropped out, especially if you look at the polling. First, we're going to take a look at Iowa. If you're wondering where will that Chris Christie 2 or 3% of the vote go, it's going to go to Nikki Haley. Even though he criticized her before dropping out, you can see the adjusted margins. Nikki Haley going from 20% to 22%, Chris Christie not on the ballot, everyone else remaining the exact same. But it's not Iowa. Obviously, Trump is going to win Iowa. It would be a shock if anything different happened. I wouldn't be surprised if Ramaswamy performed a little bit better than expected based on the amount of events he's doing. Take a look at the New Hampshire polling data. You can see Trump right around 44%, Nikki Haley 28%, and Chris Christie at 12%. So Chris Christie wants to consolidate that vote with Nikki Haley. Again, even after he was caught on a hot mic saying that she had no chance, that she was wasting millions and millions of dollars. Apparently, Christie had a phone call with DeSantis about a week ago and criticized Nikki Haley as well. In that, Nikki Haley had her debate last night with DeSantis, and the overall vibe was that DeSantis, about 60% of people thought DeSantis won, 40% thought Nikki Haley won. I wasn't very interested in it. I was very disappointed they didn't allow Ramaswamy up there. I thought it would have been a lot more entertaining with him. But either way, you can see what they're trying to do. All of that 12% Chris Christie vote goes to Nikki Haley. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy theorizing that maybe DeSantis will drop out after losing Iowa, especially if he finishes behind Nikki Haley, meaning he finishes third in Iowa. Vivek is saying DeSantis will drop out and then immediately become Nikki Haley's VP to consolidate the vote even more and possibly look at a win for her in New Hampshire. None of this really matters, at least I don't think it does, based off the fact that if you do a Trump versus Nikki Haley head-to-head, Trump is about 60%, Haley's about 40%, so Trump wins that, and many of these other states, Trump is up, but it is very important for the establishment to get DeSantis out of the race. I don't think a full 100% of the DeSantis vote is going to go to Nikki Haley, but it is going to be the majority. And then the question becomes, the Vivek vote is really siphoning off of Trump, even if it's only 4 or 5%. Would Vivek consider dropping out and endorsing Trump if this is what the establishment wants to do, to where they're trying to consolidate it and make it a Trump versus Haley fight, and you also have Vivek in there siphoning a little bit of votes off of Trump? You would figure Vivek would probably drop out at that point and endorse Trump, and Trump would go on to win. But if you are the establishment, it's very clear your strategy has to be based on the ridiculous polling in some of these other states, like Super Tuesday states. These are not close numbers. I mean, you're talking about Trump getting 65, 70% of the vote, Nevada, some of these other states like Ohio. They're coming later, so if you can change the narrative by saying, no, we're in this, Nikki Haley has a chance, you've already gotten Chris Christie to drop out, but you have to get Ron DeSantis to drop out next and preferably endorse Nikki Haley. I don't think any of this will matter. I think Trump will be the nominee no matter what. This is kind of like back in 2016, Trump lost Iowa, and there were so many different people in the race. That was a little bit different because that was even more people. This, it's really narrowed down because of just how commanding Trump's lead has been. A lot of people dropped out really quickly, including Chris Christie. You're seeing these people drop out, maybe even DeSantis spending all the money and only making it to Iowa, maybe New Hampshire. I think DeSantis will make it to Super Tuesday, but really, you have to think, what's the point of making it to Super Tuesday when you have no chance. You have no chance in this race. The writing's on the wall. And if DeSantis underperforms, let's say he comes in third place and maybe Nikki Haley is 10% in front of him, yeah, I think he would drop out at that point. It just depends. And I think there's a lot of establishment pressure on DeSantis to drop out if that happens. But the debate last night, it happens. I like DeSantis a little bit more personally than Haley. But either way, it was kind of a nothing burger. I mean, I feel like everyone always says the same thing about these debates. They always say, well, it's just, there's nothing that gets accomplished. It's just arguments. I mean, that's what debates are in general. I personally, again, I wish there were more people on the stage. I wish Trump attended. But if you are Trump, it doesn't make sense if you're up by so much. Either way, there is the potential Trump could lose New Hampshire. I don't think it's going to do anything in the grand scheme of things, but the media, they need something to talk about. They're very pissed off right now because this is not a close race. And we would expect, after New Hampshire, Trump to easily win a lot of these states. Again, the problem for these other candidates is the margin is so great. Even if everyone dropped out outside of Trump versus either DeSantis or Haley, Trump is still getting 65-70% of the vote in some of these states. That's how big of a lead it is. So even if you consolidate the other 30 to 35%, you're still not going to get more delegates than him. That's the problem. And it's just going to keep getting a bigger and bigger and bigger delegate lead for Trump when it comes to that. Next, we do have this. Misinformation takes the top spot in the prestigious World Economic Forum top global risks ranking. Extreme weather events absolutely snubbed, comes in second place. So yeah, and then Elon Musk saying misinformation, they mean anything that conflicts with their agenda. And I said this over a year ago, how they were weaponizing the word misinformation. Nobody else was talking about it. I was saying, look, this is completely ridiculous. That's why I actually just refused to even use the word misinformation or disinformation, because the word was manipulated into anything that a certain group didn't like. They would label it misinformation or disinformation. It became completely meaningless. It's the same thing with racist. They call anyone they don't like a racist. Now the word's completely meaningless. You can't just use racist or misinformation as a tool to discredit someone. It doesn't work. You actually have to prove it. So we knew this was going on. I called it out way back in 2021 before Musk took over Twitter, and now everyone is waking up. And I think that is hilarious that the Economic Forum is still trying to do this. Like misinformation and that whole coded language has any meaning after the whole pandemic debacle. But guys, either way, we also do have, how about this? This redemption arc is going to be studied in the history books. The John Fetterman redemption arc suddenly has a stroke, comes back, and is saying all of these very insightful things, things that actually make sense. It is crazy, but I think that's kind of funny with John Fetterman. Either way, guys, what's going on right now? Iowa coming up on Monday, New Hampshire about a week after that. They're targeting New Hampshire. They want DeSantis out. Chris Christie's already gone. Although the Chris Christie situation, again, very, he's basically said, he's admitted in a hot mic that, yeah, Nikki Haley, she's investing all this money. She's got no chance. We think DeSantis has no chance as well. But the thought is, if you are the establishment, Christie's got to be out of the race. He's gone. DeSantis has got to be out of the race. He is almost on the verge of kind of dropping out. We'll see. And then they can really galvanize around Haley against Trump. And also you will have Vivek there who will be siphoning a few percentage points off of Trump. But obviously, I mean, I really like Vivek. It's just the way the situation is right now where Trump is the big dog. And it's like, if you're going to vote for Vivek, why wouldn't you just vote for Trump? Like, Trump already has such a massive built-in base within the Republican Party. Vivek parroting, or even like, I think saying, more nuanced opinions of the kind of stuff that Trump is saying, I don't think he's going to be able to gather that support because there's just so many people within the Republican Party that are entrenched to Donald Trump. Vivek is clearly an anti-establishment candidate. Well, that's also who Trump appeals to, and Trump was there first. So he's like, he's going to have that support over Vivek. Either way, guys, we'll have to see what happens. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.